Well, I've been picking up on something else that I think with Vladimir Putin, and he put an ad out, and I think it was the New York Times or something that about the United States not interfering in Syria. This is not a good way to go about peace and that type of stuff, and it will only encourage terrorism. But I also pick up something else because I always wondered why Obama even went to Congress. I know Obama is like, you know, owned by powerful people in the United States. That's why they put him in power. But why did he go to Congress if he was going to act on this situation? I don't think it's just a blunder. In other words, he knows he'd lose the vote. I mean, they're not stupid. They don't bring up something ahead of time that's going to be that freaking lopsided when they want to have something done right now. So what's the game? And, if I go back decades and decades and several decades or more than a few decades, it's always been like, for instance, when the United States was working against, the communist aggression or whatever it was in the 50s and 60s and whatever, right? Till it supposedly fell apart, right? Well, it was always like our political leaders were making all these dumb blunders. And what somebody else pointed out, or some other smarter people pointed out, if they were just stupid, they would make errors in our favor at times too. So when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking that Obama is making a play like basically Obama is basically working for the New World Order all the way. So he's going to create hate and dissent in the United States, because even the major media is picking up on this left and right, all over the place, about, why are we going to attack Syria and all this kind of garbage. It's almost like they're already setting it up, They're already setting up the American people to go at each other's throats over this. And that's exactly how they always seem to want things. And I'm talking about the New World Order, the elite, or whatever the hell it is. You see, Vladimir Putin is basically working with the West, basically. Now, he would actually work more in Russia's interest than he would the United States, but he's working for global government. He is. There's no don't believe that garbage about he's against the New World Order. That's a play. He's got loads of money. He's got other people running his company, as quite obviously he has other people running his companies. He has brokerage investments in oil and stuff in Switzerland. He deals with people in Italy, as it's known by some people, that not on the internet. And he also always plays like he's the big peacekeeper, and actually he got this last vote because he's going to keep Russia safe. It's almost like the leaders are playing a game on the people in different ways, irrespective of where they're coming from or what country they're in. But they're playing a game on the people itself. What I'm suspecting is that this is how they want it to play out. The New World Order wants it to play out because, the biggest problem to the New World Order is the Bill of Rights that's in the Constitution of the United States of America. The biggest thorn to the New World Order is an armed America, too. Actually, if it's an armed America against the real enemies of America, it would work great. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to set people against each other. They got all these supposed patriots, ready to fight the military and police, which is stupid, because the military and police are patriots too. At least 90% of them are. And the whole game is to actually destroy the system in the United States, and then they will bring in the New World Order. See, I'm not sure about, well, I am pretty damn sure, let me put it that way, as far as what Putin says is real or not. He's playing a game, and he's playing a game in coordination with the West. So in other words, when this happens, it may be disastrous for the United States. I don't know. If I was Obama's situation, his shoes, I would have just done it. I would have done it. Period. I wouldn't ask Congress because, if that was my goal to do that, and that's what the elite wanted me to do, I'd do it. I'd do it. See, that's what anybody, it was actually working for the elite directly, and that was their goals they would do. But that's not their goals. The elite's goals is, and like the elite are not on the side of the Muslim Brotherhood. That's quite, you could say, oh, they're funding a Muslim. They're not stupid. Their whole game is to create hate and dissent. They're going to betray the Muslim Brotherhood later on. Guaranteed. There's no doubt about it. So, I mean, quite obvious, if it was Obama's goal, or if it was the elite's goal to actually, hit the Assad's regime, just do it. That's exactly what I'd be doing. I wouldn't be asking Congress. He didn't make such a stupid blunder. He's not that stupid. They're not, and it's Obama is like not just one person. There's a whole team around him. They would be telling him that there's no possible way that you can win this vote, and they know it ahead of time. So why bring it out? Why bring it out? And then Putin comes in and he says, "Oh, I'm putting an article out for peace. Don't do this and all this kind of garbage." And I think what's going on is they're setting up World War III. But they're going to make the United States look bad and try to get everybody turned against the United States. Because to destroy the United States is going to destroy any freedom in the world. Because there's one thing that we got that nobody else has, is the Constitution, which divides the power of the government. But more than that is the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights. And of course they got pseudo Bill of Rights that sound just as nice as the United States Bill of Rights, because that's just how disinformation works, but it sure as hell ain't the same thing if you really just read what it is, plain common sense. There's no other country that has anything like the U.S.'s Bill of Rights. None. Period. And they want it wiped out. So, the game is to create hate and dissent in the United States. The game is they make Russia probably, it's actually like back in the 60s, like you talk about Russia fell apart in the late 80s, whatever it was. Back in the 60s, Russia could have fell apart a long time ago before that. Oh, easily. Russia has always been supported by the highest, most powerful, capitalistic elite in the United States and in Europe. Always has been. Always has been. The Bolshevik Revolution would have never happened without Western finance. And Putin is all in with that, big time. Soviet Union never really fell. As a matter of fact, Major Anatoly Golitsyn said it would fall apart before it did. He said about the Germany's being reunited, Glasnost, and the reunification of and perestroika, and solidarity in Poland. He said all this stuff before it happened. And you look at Gorbachev. Gorbachev was already given to the keys, or his I forgot what the heck it is. It's called. It's over by the San Francisco Hills. It's one of the oldest naval bases in the United States. He was given the keys to the Presidio before he even stepped down as president. They're all working together. They're all working together. They're all working together. And it's not some Zionist plot, because if it was a Zionist plot, Boris, who just died recently in UK, would not be dead. They're the scapegoats. A lot of people don't like me saying that because they feel they got it all figured out. Oh, it's a Zionist. Nope, not even that, man. They're going to get the blame, but that ain't the deal either. So, good ways to control the masses. Religion is one of them. And you get the obedient servants that are going to get their reward sometime in the afterlife. And, because they'll just work themselves to death, and hopefully when they die, they'll get their reward. Nice story to tell people. And, people like Vladimir Putin putting out this thing for peace. I don't think so. And, if you look back in more detailed circles, I guess, and other things, even in the 90s, when they were giving Russia money to dismantle weapons, they were using that money. There's been a lot of accusations. They were using that money behind the scenes to develop more powerful weapons, and they're letting their conventional military kind of go to shit, per se. But behind the scenes, the money was actually being focused in on the most the best weapons going. And if you look at Zhirinovsky, what he said about Russia's power after the tsunami in Japan, Zhirinovsky flat out said that Russia caused that to Japan. They made it happen. And that they can kill millions of people, hundreds of millions of people on Earth like nothing with the weapons they have. They might be able to. Who the hell knows? Because a lot of technology that we don't know about is probably out there. So, I have a feeling that this whole game that's going on, you see in the news about Obama's blunders, Kerry's blunders, and all these, Congress going against this and all. It's all by design. It's all by design. It's going to weaken the United States and give more strength to Putin. So, it may be on purpose. That's how I see it. Because if I look back, I've seen this happen so many times before. When you're talking even from the Korean War, if you studied that, what happened behind the scenes, how the U.S. forces and the UN forces, whatever it were, pulled back, and they could have actually, it could have been a reunited Korea under the type of government that's in South Korea versus the split that could have actually happened. That the outcome could have been totally different. The Vietnam War, it could have been won in several weeks by the United States back with U.S. backing. They broke the peace treaty. From the North broke the peace treaty. They knew it was all going to happen this way. And, they come out with the propaganda, No stopping communism. It's because the elite don't want it stopped. It's a great racket. The elite in the United States basically are like communists in China, except they don't have that full control because of the Constitution of the United States. They want that crap out of the way, so they want to destroy the United States. That's what I think's going on. It's taking a long ass time, and I think they're behind schedule on stuff. But you got to remember, everything's a game, man. It's a shrewder game than you think. And the one thing they always stick with, especially, you could say the Constitution, but what's part of the Constitution is the Bill of Rights. Stick with that more than anything. Anything that violates that, that's an enemy to America all the way. That's a true enemy to America. And I can tell you one thing. Vladimir Putin don't want no Bill of Rights in Russia. He don't. Oh, he's going to take care of everything. You'll be safe under him. And he does have a good $50 billion. If you want to freaking say no about that, where's the proof? Yeah, there's a lot of proof. Because just see what he surrounds himself in. That somebody like that doesn't have the access to all the different things he has without having the actual control over the assets, which means you own them. So, one way or the other, he's got the wealth.